you talk to? What's going on? It's me, it's Mike Lepre with the DANNY dimes behind me. It's legit fantasy football. The draft is over. I still am exhausted just from that first night. I've yet to physically recover. At my age, it's not easy to recover, but we are here. Joining me, as always, Brother Ray. Brother Ray, how are we this morning?
Doing well, just trying to digest a full day of the draft and free agent signings. I'll tell you, that draft show was great. It was like giving birth to a child, though, I feel, even though I've never done it long, but I thought we did a great job.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Got a lot of good reviews from it. People that watched it, they gave me the one compliment that I got that I enjoyed was that it sounded like you guys knew what you were talking about. It wasn't like you guys knew what you were talking about. It sounded like you guys knew what you were talking about. And I was like, well, thanks. I love backhanded compliments. Joining me, Mastradamus, M1.
Is everybody in this effect? Is this some kind of effect, or is it only me that I see?
What do you see?
Oh, wow.
We have the same color, Master.
Yeah, we're
same colored walls, white.
I look like a zombie. Well, that's all right, because the other night during the draft, and I do have to have the floor for a moment to say sorry for making you all squirm. I have this brain tied to my mouth. Things come out. I got a little drunk, and after Mac Jones pick, I'm
That was fine. I just think the funniest part was you playing roulette like this.
Hey!
Let me smarten this up a little bit and bring in the genius Kev. Kev, how are we today?
Hey, pretty good, King. How's it going, Brother Ray? Mastradamus, good to see you guys again. Yeah, that Thursday night show, plus I followed a lot of the Friday stuff. I didn't watch any of it yesterday, I'll be honest. But King, I want to say right off the top, I've been remiss about not mentioning this over the past couple of weeks, but Shock G, the front man for Digital Underground, passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
You know how much I love that band. I was a huge fan of them from Sex Packets all the way on. Love that band. So very sorry to see him go. He's 57, way too young. There, thought it was a musical genius. The second guy is Michael Collins. He just passed away yesterday. He was the astronaut that was in the Apollo capsule while Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin got all the hype and the buzz for being on the moon.
And they never let him walk the moon.
Yep, he took some incredible pictures. So he passed away also. I think he was lower than Shock G. I don't know if he was 100. I think he was 90. I don't think he was 100, but I think he was 90. So anyway, just wanted to mention those two things off the top, and ready to talk some drafts. I've been trying to digest it all, like Brother Ray said.
Touch on what you're talking about with Digital Underground. A lot of people don't know this, and we all see it. Music gives birth to other musicians all the time. And Digital Underground was the route that Tupac started out as a dancer.
Yep.
And that's his in the music industry. Digital Underground.
Hey, did you know that Humpty Hump died too?
I thought he was taking over the band, and then I realized after all these years, I'm like, they were the same person. I was like, they're all right. They still got Hump. That was
my inside joke. Yeah. Oh boy. So guys, we had the draft. There's been so much going on, just in general with the channel. We got so many shows. I'm getting emails and I'm responding to them, and I'm not even correct about the sport that I'm responding to, which it's good and it's bad. I mean, it's good because there's so many emails. It's bad because I'm so damn old. I'm going senile. But we're gonna break down the draft. I want to break down this draft. I think the best way to do it, if I'm wrong, is we're gonna go division. We'll go through some teams. We'll try to get this done. We should get it done within 45 minutes. So let us pull up. Let us all get the same draft results. Let's see. Where can we go? Let's try NFL.com. I'm going to go to the draft. Let's see. Draft picks. Wait, is this the way I can go team by teams? Here we go. Okay. So we're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals. Okay. You with me, Ray? You bet?
Sure.
Kev?
Unlock the world's greatest.
Don't you do this, ads.
Remember.
Thank you. Round 1, they picked Zaven Collins. Round 2, Rondale Moore. I'm gonna go through them all, and they'll go back to the top 3. Zaven Collins, linebacker Tulsa. Rondale Moore, wide receiver Purdue, and then Marco Wilson in the 4th. They didn't have a 3rd, from Florida, cornerback. And then they had a couple of 6th-round picks and a couple of 7th-round picks. I don't know if any of them are going to pan out. Dimduke from the edge rusher from Duke, maybe. But let's talk about Zaven Collins and Rondale Moore mostly. Brother, are you start off with that?
It hurts.
Yeah, Zaven Collins, we've talked about him for weeks. I mean, he's really can play inside, outside, can put his hand on the ground and rush off the edge. 6'4", 6'5", 250, 260. I mean, he runs. He's from the inside out, one of the better linebackers in the draft. I thought they got a steal. You put him next to Simmons, who's a Swiss Army knife. He's a lot like Wusu that came out this year. Can play strong safety, can run like a sub 4.5. I think Collins was a great pick. I thought, and I know Mastradamus talked about it. The Patriots may have taken him at 15, but I mean, this lines up where he should have went. He's a really good player, and he fits with that team. I thought it was a great pick.
Football player, and he's nasty. And I love the phone call that they got. Let's not forget they got J.J. Watt. That defense is ferocious, possibly top 5 in the league. Collins is going to go in there. He's going to have the whole field to roam. He's going to knock people out. The GM calls him up. He says, "We're gonna fucking kill everyone." That's what I want on my team. I'm gonna fuck you up. That's what I want. And I miss that. I'm gonna be so sad. I'm gonna be so sad. And it's funny, King. I should set out the gate clean because the CDC called me from the last show, and I have to watch my mouth. That's what they said to me. So I'm so frustrated because I wanted the middle of my defense. I love Nuck that we got from Miami from the D tackle. Barone getting the 2nd round makes it a little bit better, but I want that middle of the defense with Duggar. We're missing the middle linebackers. Like I said, Hightower might have another year left. I like Bentley. I guess this mocks that they like Bentley to relieve Hightower when it's time.
Let's keep the Patriots in the AFC East.
Well, I'm just saying I'm really hurt over Collins. I think Arizona did great with Moore in the 2nd round because I was high on A.J. Green. A.J. Green's on his last leg. Moore fits that role. Now they have a second legitimate option opposite the huge draft.
So Kev, I'll throw this to you. I wasn't blown away by their draft. Zaven Collins, yeah, he's a pick, great pick, right? But not like, not amazing. Rondale Moore, great pick, but not like elite amazing compared to the other ones. What did you take?
I didn't love it. I mean, I like Collins. I mean, he's like they had a sneaky good defense last year. They're like 10th in defensive efficiency. Adding him can only help. Adding JJ Watt helps. But I kind of agree with you. I wasn't absolutely blown away by the picks. And it's like a decent draft, but I don't think it was like I don't think they were like one of the strongest drafts of the league.
I would give it like a B, I think. Let's jump over to Atlanta, the Falcons. Let's see. In the 1st round, they took Kyle Pitts. Second round, they took safety, I guess, Richie Grant.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, right? But then they took Jalen Mayfield in the 3rd, which I did like. And then they had a couple of 4th-round picks in Darren Hall, Drew Dorman. Nobody that jumps out to me. I love Pitts. I think they made the wrong decision with Richie Grant. But then I think they kind of made up for it with Jalen Mayfield. I'll go to Matt first. What did you think, Matt, of this draft, of these picks?
I just think it's so tough because here you got Pitts, which I've always loved going 4th overall, right? But if you got a problem with Matt Ryan leaving that scene in the next year or two, wouldn't you want to trade out of that position and build that team?
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking.
100%. Kev, what did you think about Atlanta's draft?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Master Alma said there, but I think what they're doing, this is it. This is all in. They're doing 2 years from Matt Ryan, and I'm really excited to see what that offense looks like with Julio, who's not getting traded. He's not going to get traded, guys. Calvin Ridley, Cooper. Hooper, sorry, not Cooper. Pitts, like they're stacked. That offense is going to be awesome. Fantasy football fans should be looking for that. Plus, you got to remember they just got Arthur Smith in there, so they got a new coach, and to tear it down in his first season would be a very tough move. They're going to see if he is an offensive genius or not. Was Tennessee just based on talent that he had there, or is he going to be able to do it in Atlanta without a Derrick Henry? So I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch.
All right, Ray, really quick, and just give a grade if you want to Atlanta.
I thought they were solid. I think Pitts was one of the best players in the draft. I like Richie Grant. I think he's a great center fielder. He plays with a lot of attitude. They got a starting tackle in Jalen Mayfield who slipped to the third. I didn't think that was going to happen. And they took Drew Dahlman too from Stanford. Very underrated center. He's probably going to go in there and start at some point. So I think they got 4 starters out of this draft.
Maybe. Now, going on to the Baltimore Ravens, who always draft well, in my humblest of opinion. They had 2 first-round picks. At the end of the first round, they took Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, who I love, and then they took that Odafe Oweh, edge rusher from Penn State. I thought those were 2 solid picks, right? Third round, they didn't have a second round. They had 2 thirds. They took Ben Cleveland, guard from Georgia. He should actually start. And then Brandon Stevens, cornerback, Southern Methodist. That's a compensatory pick. I don't know much about him, but I like the first 3 picks. Kev, what did you think about this draft right here by the Ravens?
Yeah, I love the first. I love Bateman. I love Oweh. I think they're perfect for the Ravens. My only concern is, does Bateman just die on the vine in Baltimore because of the way they run their offense? I hope they can get the most out of him because we were all high on him. He had like the physical tools. Everything about him is great. The fact they got him at 27 surprised me that he was still there. I just hope he doesn't get underutilized and just kind of disappear.
Yeah, it's Baltimore. Ray, what did you think about Baltimore?
They're a machine. They do the same thing every year. They draft a certain type of player. Bateman is he's got number 1 size. Hollywood Brown is too fragile. He's too small. He's not a true number 1. They got a number 1 receiver in Bateman at the end of the first round. Oweh is a physical freak. They are gonna with their 3-4 defense. He is gonna be such a good fit on that team. He's gonna step up. I love Cleveland. Fits their offensive line profile. Big mauler, smasher. I mean, they're machines. I mean, even Stevens from Southern Methodist, long, physical corner. When they draft players, they fit their requirements to a T, and no one does it better than the Ravens, I think.
Maddie, you want to touch on them real quick? You want to go on to Buffalo?
It's crazy. I'm just going to simply say that they're like clockwork. It's like what the Patriots used to do. They used to make free agents be the prize positions. Now the Patriots are picking up their guys, Juden. I don't think that they'll miss anybody. They're going to put another player in there like they always do, and they're going to plug away. That's what the Baltimore Ravens are.
Agreed. All right, Buffalo Bills. I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan this year of Buffalo, if I'm being honest, because round 1 they went Rousseau. Round 2 they took Boogie Basham, another defensive end. And it's crazy that one's called an edge and the other's called defensive end. It's the same thing to me. Round 3,
hand in the dirt or up.
Yeah,
you rush or you're a specialist, or you do both. The end, they expected to put their hand down.
I know, but those are guys who are going to be in the same room, and then when it comes time to learn the plays. Then they took Spencer Brown in the 3rd. He's an offensive tackle from Northern Iowa, and then they had no 4th-round pick and took Tommy Doyle in the 5th, which I thought was a steal, an offensive tackle out of Miami, Ohio. Brother Ray, what did you think about the Bills? I don't think it was a great draft. I don't. I think Rousseau's question mark, whatever, and then Tommy Doyle and Spencer Brown. 2 defensive ends, Ray, basically 2 tackles in a row. What did you think?
I disagree. I thought they had a great draft. Unfortunately, I'm a Dolphins fan, but they really addressed their needs with the value that was on the board. They got 2 of the better edge defensive ends in the draft, in Rousseau and Basham, and they're 2 different players. Rousseau, again, can stand up. He's around 260. Boogie Basham is a pure defensive end that can play at 3-4 or 4-3. He's 280 pounds. So it's much different than Rousseau. He's a banger, heavy hands. I mean, Spencer Brown was a great pick. He adds, I mean, they kind of do what the Ravens do as well. They fit players that really fit that scheme. Tommy Doyle, I thought, was a great pick. They pick up Marquez Stevenson, who's one of the faster receivers in the draft, replace John Brown. They lose John Brown. They add Marquez Stevenson with a 6th-round pick. I thought they had a good draft.
Not for nothing. Last year, they were one of the most exciting teams on the season. And there was a moment when we were thinking that they could beat anybody in the AFC. Then that defense showed its ugly face numerous times. That D-line could get muckled and just ran all over. They had to do what they did, and they did it. I like it. I'm with Brother Ray. I like their draft. I think that they got better.
Kev, how are they different, Rousseau and Basham, when Rousseau is 266 and Basham is what?
279, 280.
274 listed. That's Kev, that by my math, 8 pounds difference.
Probably, yeah. King, I can't differentiate their play, but the thing I want to say is I think they made it was a strong draft. It wasn't a splash draft, but they didn't need a splash draft. This shows you exactly what they think of their organization. They know they have all the skill positions solved. You know, they obviously have Allen. They have the 2 running backs. The wide receivers tore it up last year. They needed to get better in the trenches. Mastradamus brought up a very good point how their run defense got pushed around all over the place. And you can never go wrong addressing the offensive line. So I think it's, they told you what they think of their team. They think they're solid. They think they're one step away. And I think this is going to kind of raise everything up a little bit. It's not a splash draft, though.
All right. Sorry. So, all right, moving on to Carolina. I think Carolina did more for Sam Darnold in this one draft than the Jets did the entire time he was with them. So it's Matt, to you. They took J.C. Horn in the 1st round. They had to take J.C. Horn just for value. They needed that star cornerback. But then from that point on, they went 2nd round, Terrace Marshall, Jr., wide receiver, LSU. Brady Christensen in the 3rd, offensive tackle, Brigham Young. Tommy Tremble, tight end, Notre Dame. And then in the 4th round, they went Chubba Hubbard, right, running back, Oklahoma State. It seems like they're in on Sam Darnold. What did you think of that?
They said for a long time that they don't want to. I mean, it's going to be hard. You want to utilize the best player on your team, but they said it numerous times that they don't want to make Christian McCaffrey, in every play guy. They do want to put somebody else in there to spell, and they got him, and they need to because we want to see run CMC on the field, every week. So I think that they did a lot. I like Carolina. I liked Carolina last year. You guys know how much I like Carolina. J.C. Horn, I love J.C. Horn. I think he's a top premier corner. He's going to shut down the number 1 wideout in that very soft NFC South all of a sudden. So that division might be locked down by one Tampa Bay for a while, but after next year, it's going to be anybody's, and they're putting themselves in prime position. I like Carolina.
All right, from here on out, guys, we're going to go 1 team per person so we can get through this because we're only on the Chicago Bears, which starts with a C, in case anybody's wondering. So the Chicago Bears draft, unless you really want to talk about Carolina, you can shout it out, but if not, let's go to Chicago. Chicago makes the move I thought of the day. Trade up with the Giants from 20 to 11 to take Justin Fields in the 1st round. 2nd round, they take the human highlight reel offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. That's the guy I told you, the meanest tackle I could find. And then even in the 5th round, in 6th, they got a guard from Missouri, a running back from Virginia Tech, and Daz Newsome, wide receiver from North Carolina. Chicago actually seemed like they did the right things and are trying to surround Justin Fields with the right tools. Kev, what did you think of Chicago?
Yeah, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of the Chicago Brain Trust, but I think they had a really good draft. The only thing that I bring up, and I'm the only person that's saying it, is this is now the 3rd time that Ryan Pace has just unloaded all his picks for a player. He did it for Trubisky, he did it for Khalil Mack, and now he's doing it for Justin Fields. I don't know how many chances you get to do that, but the Fields, it was a good trade. I hope the Fields pick works out. Chicago deserves it. I like the tackles. So I think they had a very strong draft, but I don't know how many more chances I'd give Pace and Nagy.
I personally hope that they're horrible this year. I hope they're the worst team in the gosh darn league, Chicago. You know what I mean? Ray, did you want to touch on that, or can I move ahead to Cincinnati?
Yeah, all I'm going to say is they took their franchise quarterback. They had the guts to do that, and then they surrounded him with a really good tackle and a guard. I mean, you can't ask for better than that.
No. All right, so Cincy, Ray. Cincy takes Jamar Chase in the first round, follows it up with Jackson Carman, guard out of Clemson. They got Joseph Asai in the third round as the edge rusher. Then took another edge rusher in Cameron Sample. Fourth round, they took a defensive tackle in Tyler Shelvin, and then they took Deontay Smith, offensive tackle. And then I want to make sure you know, in the fifth round, they took my man, Evan McPherson, kicker, out of Florida. Ray, what did you think of Cincinnati's draft? I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, they did what we thought they would do. They took Chase early because he's really an impact player. They did pass on Sewell, but then you saw right after that, they took Jackson Carman, really good guard, a really good edge guy in Asai, who I think is going to be a better pro than a college player. I mean, they went with their defensive line. Tyler Shelvin was the best nose tackle in the draft. And, they took Trey Hill later, a really good center prospect. So they did address their offensive line again, and they got an impact player in Jamar Chase.
I want to follow you up on that real quick, Brother Ray. I thought the biggest heist of the draft was pick 38. The Patriots sent them 2 fourth-round picks and moved up. That was such a horrible move for the Cincinnati Bengals. They had a good draft. I don't know what they were thinking with 2 fourth-round picks to move up. Their tackle was there if they wanted them. Put the Patriots in position to get Barone. That move didn't make sense to me.
All right, let's move on to Cincinnati. Cleveland. I'm sorry. Kev, I'll give you Cleveland. I was a little confused with Cleveland, I'll be honest, because they took Greg Newsome in the first round, cornerback. I didn't see that coming. And then they took Jeremiah Owusu, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. I like him better than the first round pick. And then Anthony Schwartz was in the third round, wide receiver out of Auburn. And then they had James Hudson and Tommy, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, Togiai, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Kev, what did you think of their draft?
I actually like their draft a lot. I think they hit positions of need, and I think they got lucky, a little bit lucky that the talent was there in the positions that they needed. Like Greg Newsome's, I think, solid. We were all very high on Owusu Karamoa. And he's going to start immediately. Anthony Schwartz, I don't think we knew too much about, but I mean they have Landry and Odell, so he's going to be a third wide receiver. So I think they actually had a very strong draft for what they need. It's just going to be a matter of if these guys contribute, I think Cleveland takes a big step forward. Could be.
All right, Brother Ray, I'm going to give you. Let's actually give that to Kev. I'll repeat Kev one time. Kev, you get the Cowboys. They're your team.
Yeah. Thanks, King. I think we all like the Micah Parsons pick. It gives them three solid linebackers, especially with Sean Lee retiring. Now they have Jalen Smith, they have Van Der Esch, and they got Micah Parsons, and he's an animal, which we've all been raving about. So I think those 3 linebackers are solid. The Kelvin Joseph pick. You guys know I was really high on Surtain, and you kind of lost my mind a little bit when Denver sniped him on that. Joseph is very, very athletic. He's got size. He's got kind of all the physical traits to be an NFL corner. He's not that disciplined yet. And we all know the way Dallas operates. He's going to start whether he's disciplined or not. So that'll be an interesting one. And I also liked the third and fourth round. The 2 third-round picks, the defensive lineman and the edge. So they really, really focused on defense. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is the offensive line. Big drop off from last year. And the only pick they used on it was a 4th rounder. So we'll see where that goes. But I think they had a decent draft on the defensive side of the ball.
So they took 3 4th-round picks. They actually had a compensatory. They had a lot of compensatory picks. Yeah. They got another guard at the very, very end of the draft.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, round 7. Yeah, you're right. So they had 3 thirds, 2 fourths, a 5th, 2 6. They had a ton of picks. Okay. Dallas's drafting strategy has changed in recent years. I think Jerry Jones took a step away, and they don't do crazy things anymore. So I'm kind of excited that they spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the first 6 picks on defensive players until they went with Ball in the 4th at the end of the 4th. So I'm kind of excited to see how that defense looks. We already know their offense is solid. The only thing, like I said, is the offensive line.
I love
Ray-
Jabril Cox in the fourth. They stole Jabril Cox in the fourth.
Agreed.
You pair him with Mika Parsons. Jabril Cox was the best coverage linebacker
Yep.
in the draft.
Yep.
His first play for them this year for LSU when he switched over was a pick six. You put him with Parsons. I thought they did a good job of addressing their defensive needs.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. All right, I'll go to Matt. Then Matt, Denver. First round, they snipe Pat Surtain. Second round, they take Javonte Williams, running back out of North Carolina. Third round, they get Quinn Meinerz. I guess that's how it's pronounced.
The gut.
He's going to start right away, right? That's third round pick, Baron Browning. To me, they had 4 solid picks in a row.
One of the best drafts of the weekend, hands down. And then to add that up, they, bring in Ted Bridgewater. I like it. I like everything that they did. Javonte Williams, I think he's going to be a starter right off the bat. I think the job is his, and what he can do. He's a little bit more of a home run hitter. He's like the wind. I love him. I think he's not right up there. I mean, he could be. I don't know. He could be as elite as Harris. I like him. I think he moves just as good as Najee and Travis. I think there was 3 top backs this year, and he's one of them. And they got a top back in the second round. I like Denver. I think Denver's slowly getting back.
Great draft. Great draft.
Right. To you, Detroit.
Quickly getting back.
I liked Detroit a lot in this draft. First round, Penei Sewell. Second round, they took Levi. You pronounce it. The defensive tackle from Washington.
Yeah.
There you go. Third round, I loved it too. They got another defensive tackle in McNeil, North Carolina State. And then they got a cornerback from Syracuse, where your son goes. And then in the fourth round, they got Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC. And they got Derek Barnes, linebacker out of Purdue. I think from 1 to 4, they got guys that could all start potentially. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, new coach, new regime. And what I like about them is they drafted players that identify with the way the coach wants to play there. I mean, I remember when he was the coach of the Dolphins, the first thing he did was install the Alabama drill, which basically means the offensive line and the defensive line kill each other for a whole practice. I mean, look at the beef. You got Sewell, left tackle bookend, Levi, unbelievable inside defensive tackle, and McNeil. Those guys are going to start from day one. And then they picked up Ifutu from Syracuse, who is a very underrated corner. I thought he should have went higher than that. Physical guy. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best slot guys out there. Great blocker, physical, almost like Hines Ward. He's got that Hines Ward mentality. I thought their draft reflected their new attitude in Detroit.
Did any of you guys see like the little video package they did on Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, he's nasty.
So his dad was like Mr. Universe and competed as like Mr. World, all this stuff as a bodybuilder. He's huge. The mom, I don't know what she did, but she did something else like that. And then he's got brothers that are all like him, that all want to be wide receivers. I think there's one playing college. I don't know if one made it to the pros already, but it's like the whole family. There's just these workout animals. It was like really funny to see. Green Bay.
Oh, sorry, King. One thing before we go, I want to echo completely what Brother Ray said, and I thought their GM said all the right things after the draft. Is like, we can't solve every problem at once. We got to get like best players available. We're building this from the ground up. Perfect philosophy, but the second round defensive lineman they drafted Onwuzurike, his quote was unbelievable. Probably my favorite quote. He says, "I like effing people up. I like to get off the line and just put my helmet or my hands on an offensive lineman and F up an offensive scheme pretty much. I like pushing them back 2-3 yards and just making them feel like S." So he love it.
Can't argue with that guy. All right, the Packers. We're gonna go. Who did I leave off with? Let's just go. We'll go back to Matt.
Right.
Yeah, man.
We'll go to Matt on this. Matt, I didn't like Green Bay's draft at all. Right?
I haven't liked them since Spurs taking over. I don't know what their whole idea is. You got
cornerback in Eric Stokes. They got a starting center in Josh Myers. Then they got a Mario Rogers finally in the third, and then they got a guard in the fourth, Royce Newman. So it seemed like they came out of the gate and they're not going to help Rodgers, and then it's like they slowly put together some pieces that maybe could help Rodgers. I feel like they didn't know, like you said, who their quarterback was going to be, so they weren't quite sure how to go about this.
Well, who are they? And ever since they came in, LaFleur came in, he wants to change the scheme and the philosophy to his liking. But then you immediately take a quarterback. So does that mean the transition right out to Aaron Rodgers? I wouldn't think so, because you could have used that first-round pick for something else you have. And then you got A.J. Dillon. You figured that Aaron Jones would go, and you'd put that money elsewhere because A.J. Dillon is very deserving of a starting role in the NFL. He was the best running back in college. And then you got two quarterbacks, you got two running backs. Granted, everybody needs two running backs in this league today, but you got two starting caliber running backs. And then you have this draft. They have problems in Green Bay, which is too bad because I think LaFleur is a good coach, and I think he's got a good scheme up there. But then you got Aaron Rodgers. I think that they are going to be in big trouble, and they're going to implode with all that chaos. It's going to spill over. Who knows what Jordan Love will be, but looks like we're going to see the Jordan Love show pretty soon.
All right. Kev, I'm going to jump on, give this to you because this is a real boring one. The Houston Texans. I mean, just
I didn't even know they were part of the draft.
Exactly. They had two third-round picks, 2 fifth-round picks, and a 6th. Okay. They took Davis Mills, which I thought was a steal, if we're being honest, in the 3rd round, quarterback out of Stanford. And then they got Nico Collins, wide receiver, Michigan. Brevin Jordan, I think, again, a steal in the 5th out of Miami. And that's about it. My issue is, where are they going? Who are they? What's the goal with the Texans?
Yeah, and it's not even worth spending a lot of time on them because you first got the Deshaun Watson thing hanging over everything. I don't think Davis Mills is the answer if Deshaun Watson doesn't play this season, if he's suspended or something. I don't think he's the answer. So it's a kind of a, he's got potential, but that's a weird pick. Nico Collins never amounted to all he was supposed to amount to in Michigan. So I think they had a kind of a weird draft. They didn't have a lot of picks, which makes it even harder. They're a terrible team. They have needs everywhere. So I think they're just going to be kind of, running in place for another year, and especially until they get the Deshaun Watson situation straightened out.
Yeah, if I can advice, don't trade your picks. Go ahead.
Let me just add that by them taking Davis Mills in the 3rd round, that told you, and me and everybody, that they don't expect Deshaun Watson to play it down for them this year.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor's going to start, but Davis Mills may be the future.
Does Bill Belichick just send his disciples to teams to just destroy them? Does he?
So far, other than
Josh McDaniels, Bill O'Brien. Who hires these guys? And why do they allow them to destroy franchises like bad?
I don't know. Ray
Houston won the division 8 out of 10 years, and now they're a walking mat.
Yeah. Ray Colts. Your boy Kwity Paye went in the 1st round. 2nd round, they went for another. Again, they did edge, then defensive end, which makes no sense because Kwity Paye could be an end. He could be a defensive tackle. But for some reason, he's an edge. And then Dio Odingo. I don't know. Odingbo. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce it. I'm not that smart. Out of Vanderbilt. And then they took Kyle Granson in the 4th. I don't know. They didn't have a lot of picks, Ray. You like Kwity Paye, I guess. What did you think of those two, at least those 2 picks, the 2 ends that they got?
Yeah, I think they got to steal with Kwity dropping to 21. They can put him all over that line. And Odeyingbo, is another. He's more of a true edge guy. So I think they really help their line. Granson will help as a blocking tight end and someone that they can use. But again, this is a good team. We also have to think about the Colts. They're a good team. And if Wentz plays like we think he can, they're gonna be a contender next year. So I thought they did good in the 1st and 2nd round. Granson's okay, but then after that, underwhelming.
Agreed. Kev, I'm gonna go to you on this. To me, the Jaguars had this is like the Jaguars were like, how like when Stu or Steve ends up having like 4 or 5 picks in the first 2 rounds. No offense, Brother Ray. Sometimes you would do it, and they kind of waste the majority of those picks. All right, I don't think Jacksonville wasted anything. They took Trevor Lawrence and then NTN in the 1st round.
Travis.
And in the second round, they took Tyson Campbell, cornerback, Georgia, starter.
Huge.
Walker
Yeah.
Little, starter, offensive
Yeah.
tackle. Then they took the safety that I like the most, Andre Cisco out of Syracuse in the third round. Then they got a starting defensive tackle in Jay Tufele, whatever you want to pronounce it, defensive tackle USC. Jordan Smith, who's a good edge rusher for in the fourth also. Luke Farrell, a tight end out of Ohio State. And then Jalen Camp, wide receiver, Georgia Tech in the sixth. But
Let me
still,
beg you, please.
no,
Urban-
I'm gonna-
It's Urban Meyer.
Kev,
That's
hold on.
Urban Meyer. He knows college so well.
Hold. Kev, what did you think?
No, okay, you summed it up really well. I like their first 5 picks are like very difficult to argue with. I thought they were going off the rails when they picked Etienne at pick 25. I was really worried that they were just going to go off the rails after that. But you know, he'll produce there. He's probably not at the value of a first rounder, but you know, that's all analytic stuff. Running backs don't matter, all that. But I think he's explosive. He's a good pass catcher. Him and Robinson will be a good tandem, but I do think they overpaid for him. But everyone else I love. I like Campbell. I love Little. I love Cisco. And if anyone knows the name of that girl in the light blue dress in Cisco's living room, I'm still looking for that information. If anyone can shoot that over, get my number.
Trevor Lawrence got his running back in NTN. Like, he got the guy that was his running back in college. So that right there to me is a comfort thing. Matt, what do you think?
Well, I'm so glad you said that because the offensive tackles comes in also. So they went with 2 buddies that he could be, feel comfortable, make the transition smoothly. They're setting this up for Trevor to just be very comfortable. But James Robinson, as soon as that pick was made, James Robinson was on the block. That was up. James Robinson is now looking to be moved from Jacksonville.
I disagree. They're going to be one of the top running teams in the league. Urban Meyer said it. They're going to use these guys in tandem.
I don't think so, brother. I from what I'm hearing, James Robinson's on the trade block. I would love to see that. But I was upset with the pick, like Genius said right off the bat, because you got James Robinson. But Travis Etienne is more dynamic.
Yeah.
And not
he's a very different back.
James's power, Travis Etienne is power, but also wind. He breaks tackles and he's gone. He's gone. He's a home run hitter. That right there, because Jacksonville has great wideouts. They do have good wideouts. There's going to be so many dimensions that you have to defend for Jacksonville now that they got.
What's funny is I don't think Jacksonville has great receivers. I think they have a bunch of E pluses.
They're good. DJ Chalk is unbelievable. Laviska Shenault is going to be the biggest wideout that it makes their jump this year. Wait until you see Laviska Shenault.
Maybe
they're going to run with a rookie quarterback this year, guys. I'm telling you, he is not going to put him in danger. They're going to run the ball like you would not believe. Robinson is the thunder to Etienne's lightning. I think they're going to work perfectly together.
Laviska was a top 5 wideout taken out the draft. That's what they had him ranked as. Of course, he went to Jacksonville, played with a bunch of different wideouts. But what we've seen out of him in little spurts was kind of perfect. I say Percy Harvin a lot. Percy Harvin was I think, like a Bob Sanders type of individual, Hall of Fame like career, but just taken so short. I love it. So I think that I think they're going to be just fine. I like exactly where Jacksonville's heading.
Ray, Kansas City Chiefs to you. Now, I didn't like their draft. They needed a cornerback. They never addressed it. Second round picks, they had 2. Nick Bolton, linebacker, Missouri. Creed Humphrey, center, Oklahoma. Both starters. And in the 4th round, they went with that defensive end from Florida State, Kando.
Yep.
And then Noah Gray from Duke. What do you think about the KC draft?
I think you have to take their draft and combine what they've done in free agency. I love Nick Bolton. I think he's one of the best inside linebackers. If you watch the tape of this guy, he knocks people out. He removes helmets. I thought he was a great inside linebacker. I really wanted the Dolphins to take him at some point. And Creed Humphrey is going to come in. He'll be a starter. They have completely revamped that offensive line in free agency. They did what they had to do after that Super Bowl where their quarterback was being hunted on every single down. I mean, I think with them, you got to take what they did in this draft. They didn't have a lot of picks, and then combine what they did in free agency. I mean, I think they did what they needed to do with the offensive line, and I think Bolton is going to help.
Best offensive line in football.
All right, so
that's scary.
Free agency aside, I don't like the draft. That's all I'm saying. Just the draft itself. I didn't like the picks they made. Let's move on to the next team. We'll throw that at Matt. Matt, the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's see.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Rashawn
No, you're right,
Slater.
you're right.
Rashawn Slater is in round 1. Asante Samuel was in round 2.
Huge. And then they got a wide out, which was great.
Josh Palmer, yep. And then you got they got Trey McKitty and a good tight end out of Georgia. And then they got who I thought was a huge steal in Chris Rumpf, edge rusher from Duke. I think that kid's got some bend. I think that kid's gonna be really good. What did you think of that draft right there?
I think the Chargers are a sneaky good team, and there was a lot of holes on that team. We've seen them in a lot of one-score games. They made themselves a lot better. I've always said to myself, Keenan Allen is a good player, but he's often out there by himself. Mike Williams was never somebody you could depend on, always injured. So it's good that they get some more weapons. Slater was absolutely a brilliant pick. I love it. I think the Chargers are going to compete with the Chiefs, every year. But what the Chiefs did this year with the offensive line, they separated themselves, and the Chargers are still kind of, trailing behind them. But where the Chargers are going, they're trending upwards. I love what they did with this year's draft picks, especially getting that wide out for Justin.
I thought they had a really solid draft. Kev, we'll go to you for the Rams. No first round pick, and they took Tutu Atwell, wide receiver, in the second, which fits their scheme perfectly. Round 3, they took Ernest Jones, linebacker, South Carolina, and then in the 4th round they took it's my prerogative. Do what I want to do. It's my prerogative. Bobby Brown, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. I'm sorry. Whenever I hear that name, I think of Chris
Jones. Good to
Jones.
see him making a comeback, King.
Was that?
It's good to see him making a comeback. He's been out of the loop for a while.
I know, right? So, Kev, what did you think of this draft? Like, I wasn't a big fan of it.
No, I won't spend a lot of time on it. But everyone's talking about Devonta Smith being 166 pounds. Do you know how much Tutu Atwell weighs?
150 something.
149. Is what he came in at. He's the lightest wide receiver in a little while. I don't like the way the Rams never seem to have a lot of picks. They never seem to have a first rounder. They just constantly trade them away. So they're always kind of playing from behind the 8 ball when they draft. So I'm not a huge fan of Atwell. Jones is a good run defender. So they kind of needed that on defense, but they don't know. There's a lot of question marks about him in coverage. So I didn't think they nailed it in any way, shape, or form. I'm actually waiting for the wheels to fall off in LA. I've been predicting it for a little while, and they still. I think McVay is just such a good coach. He still strings it all together. But I think they got to get rid of that GM and really put someone there that can really help out McVay.
I agree, Ray. I want to take you with the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the Raiders are doing. Like Alex Leatherwood in the first round at 17 shouldn't have gone there. End of story, in my opinion. Second round, though, they did take the best safety, maybe, in Trevin Moehrig. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong again. But then from there on, Ray, tell me about Malcolm Kuntz and Divine Diablo. These are guys that I haven't heard of as much. Guys from Buffalo, you know what I mean? Missouri. Like, I'm just not a big fan of this draft. I don't. Other than the second round pick, I don't think they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Mayock usually does his own thing. He goes for a lot of those small school players at times. I like Mike Mayock. I think he does a good job of team building. It hasn't shown on the field yet, but I really don't blame Mike. I blame Gruden for that. But Leatherwood, I thought, was a little bit of a reach. But you know what? He's got the skills to be a tackle in the league. And he's someone that has immense ability that you can work with, I think. Waring was, I thought, the best safety in the draft. They got him in the second round. I thought that was a great pick. They needed help in the middle of that defense in the back end. And Malcolm Kuntz, I mean, you forget, they took Khalil Mack from Buffalo, and he turned out pretty well. Kuntz, another great player. Yes, he played at Buffalo, but they think he can make the jump in the level of competition. Divine Diablo, the best name in the draft. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Really, really underrated safety. Virginia Tech has a history of the defensive backfield. They just churn out NFL prospect after prospect. I thought their draft was okay. Leatherwood was a slight reach, but I think they addressed their needs.
All right, Ray, I'm going to stay with you on this next one, though, because it's Miami. I'm going to go over this real quick. I think Miami nailed it. I think they screwed over the Giants with that trade. I think they came away aces. Like, I think if you look at Miami's last couple of years in drafts, they better be better because they took Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips first in the first round. Two solid picks, right? One of the best wide receivers, in my opinion. He was my favorite. One of the best edge rushers, right? Then they take second round, Javon Holland, great safety. And then they take such a sneaky pick in Liam Eichenberg right there in the second, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. They get Hunter Long, tight end out of Boston College. And then in the round sevens, they're just taking stabs. But, I mean, from Waddle to Long, Bray, you got like 5 starters there. What did you think?
Yeah, again, I thought they addressed their needs. Again, Waddle fits perfectly with them. I preferred Smith, but I can't argue with Waddle. I mean, his speed is a different dynamic. And Smith was even saying that if Waddle was healthy last year, Waddle would have won the Heisman. So I can't argue with that. Jalen Phillips does have some injury concerns. That's why he dropped to 18. But he's the best pass rusher in the draft, period. Like the best pass rusher, best end player. So if he can stay healthy, I think he's a steal. Javon Holland, I had him as my second best safety. He's probably the best ball hawk of all the safeties, and that's what Flo was looking for there. He started as a true freshman, so a lot of experience back there. I love Eichenberg, solid, gritty player. He played a game last year with his left eye shut. His left eye was completely shut, and he suited up and played. Old school, mauler in the running game. He learned under some really good offensive linemen. And Hunter Long, curious. At first, I was saying a little bit of a reach, but if you look, he had more receptions than Pitts last year. So he's someone I think they can develop. They didn't have anything in the 7th round, but they got 2 good development guys in Coleman and Dokes. They didn't really address the running back position. I think that's the one thing they didn't do. But they came away with 4 to 5 starters, I would say.
Agreed.
Yeah. King, just something we want to add here. Like this just goes to show you what happens when you have a GM that is making good trades. They had 2 first-round picks. So you could say maybe Phillips has the injury concerns, but he was a second first-round pick. You get 2 second-round picks. It's amazing when you have 4 picks in the top 42. You could take a little risk. You getting starters all over the place. So I think they had a very, very good draft.
All right, Kev, I'm going to stay with you here so that way Matt will get New England. This is Minnesota. Minnesota took Christian Darrisaw in the first round, which I don't know. You need a tackle. You got to get him. There was a run on tackles, but I don't like when it seems like they're rushing a pick. And then in 3rd round, they took Kellen Mond, quarterback, Texas A&M, which is kind of intriguing, right? Yeah. Then in the 3rd round, I thought they killed it, right? They took Chaz Surratt, the linebacker that I kept telling you about out of North Carolina, which, come to find out, yes, he is related to the other Surratt, the wide receiver. Remember I kept saying this, how is it possible there's 2 Surratts in college football? Yeah. Well, they're brothers. So Chaz was the wide receiver, the linebacker. He went. And then they got Wyatt Davis, guard, Ohio State. My favorite guard in the whole draft, right? Patrick Jones, edge rusher from Pittsburgh, really good. So it's weird. I guess Darrisaw, if he pans out, it could be a great draft. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they had a ton of picks, too. They had 1 first-rounder. They had 4 third-rounders, 3 fourth-rounders. So they took a ton of swings. Like, I like Darrisaw probably a little better than you do. I don't understand the Mond pick. I'm not a huge fan there. I like the Surratt pick. I like the Davis pick. I'm not a fan of the Jones pick. I think that's a reach. But, I mean, with that many picks, and they even got running back from Iowa State. So I think – and another cornerback in the 4th. So I think they had a strong draft just because of the number of players that they got. So even if half of these bust out, they'll still end up with 5 or 6 decent players. And they have holes. They had they addressed offensive line, which they had a lot of problems with. They got Surratt, so helping the defense in the middle. Even like I said, I'm not a huge fan on Jones. If I'm wrong and he contributes on the edge, they almost remade the team. So I think I liked it a lot, except for the Mon pick, and I thought Jones was a little bit of a reach.
I thought they had one of the best drafts, guys. I
Yeah.
really did. They traded up and down.
Yep.
They got out of the second. They accumulated 4th, 3rd round picks, and they hit it out of the park. Kellen Mond may be the quarterback this year. He's going to compete with Cousins, I think. I think he has that much potential. Darius Saw, solid offensive tackle. Chaz Surratt, sneaky pick.
Oh.
This guy, the arrow is pointing up. He's a converted quarterback, guys.
Yeah,
It's crazy. That's crazy.
Davis and Jones, unbelievable picks in the 3rd round. Jones, heavy hands, true defensive end. I thought they hit it out of the park. Chris Spielman knows what the draft process is all about. Moves up and down, gets value.
Yep.
I thought they hit it out of the park.
Yeah, I just can't believe the volume of players. I mean, 4 thirds, 3/4. I mean, it's just incredible. And like Ray, you and I might disagree on some of the players, but with that volume, because like you said, like with Spielman moving around like that, it's going to be hard to miss on all these picks.
All right, let's move over to Matt with your Patriots. Let me start off with this, Matt. First of all, I think you're going to fall in love with Mac Jones. He's going to be the quarterback that, like I said, he's an ugly mechanical quarterback, but he makes all the throws drop where they need to be. And then secondly, the Patriots and Giants are so similar. It's ridiculous. Like the way that they work, because they went with Christian Barmore in the second, defensive tackle Alabama, who the Giants coveted like nobody's business. And then in the 3rd round, they took another guy that the Giants talked about the whole time, in Ronnie Perkins.
Everybody wanted Perkins. He had no business going that late. It's a steal. That's an egg.
So I think the first 3 picks, if Mac Jones pans out, were awesome. After that,
I'm going to say the first 4 picks. They went with 2 Bama boys, then 2 Oklahoma boys. That kid Stevenson, the running back from Oklahoma, he's a big boy.
Broke my heart. It broke my heart. They took Stevenson in the 4th, and that's why the Dolphins dropped out of the 5th, because the Dolphins were targeting Ramondre Stevenson. We talked about him earlier, 240, 250.
5'11". Yeah, 40.
Can do it all. Pass protect, catch the ball out of the backfield. Really underrated running back. I love him.
Yeah, 6 foot, 231. I've watched a lot of tape on him, and it's kind of deceiving. A lot of the holes I've seen him run through were big, open. You could drive trucks through. But when he gets contact, he sheds the tackle. He makes you hurt. He makes you pay. He gets every inch that the play offers. I love that about him.
Not the quickest to the hole, but once he gets to it, I agree. He's
not
going.
the thickest. I'd like to see him lose a good 15 pounds, 10, 15 pounds. He's got to get lighter on his feet. That's what I see. He reminds me of a Sony Michel. Damian Harris is the lead back there. Stevenson will be the 1A, and he'll tote the ball when he needs to spell him. But I love the pick. It's starting back that late in the draft. But I do believe that I'll fall in love with Mac Jones. I look at it now that I'm separating myself from the draft. All the other quarterbacks that fell after Trevor Lawrence are different type of breed. The more we're going in the NFL, whereas Mac Jones is the prototypical drop back passer. So I like it. It fits the offense that was being built. I thought it was going to be Jimmy. That ship has sailed. It's Mac Jones. I think Cam comes in, starts a few games, and whether he wins or not, I think Mac is going to relieve him quite soon. I love
So overall, what do you think about the Patriots draft?
I think it's the best draft that they've had in years, and I don't know why. I don't know why, if it's Bill Belichick had less hands-on and somebody else was chirping in his ear, but the moves that they made were what they needed to fill this team out and prepare themselves for the future. So I love the draft. I love their first 4 picks. We'll see what about that safety, Bledsoe. I'm hearing good things about Bledsoe, too. He was taken in the 6th round, but we'll see. I'm excited.
Right. I'm going to go back to Kev.
Okay, I just want to make two quick comments on this. I think if you combine you have to combine free agency with the draft. I think the Patriots take a huge step forward next year. I think anyone that thinks they're back in the playoffs, they're probably 17-game season, they're at least a 10-win team. I think they're yeah. And then the second thing is Belichick announced either today or yesterday that this was Ernie Adams' last draft. So someone better tell Dave Evans that, because he's going to be in tears.
He is. All right, Kev. Oh, I hear myself too long. Who's got me so long? Wow. We're gonna go with the Saints, Kev. And I don't know about this draft. Like, I don't know what the goal was, because I don't like the picks. Peyton Turner, defensive end, first round. Pete Werner, linebacker, second round. Paulson Adebo, cornerback, third. Ian Book, quarterback, Notre Dame, fourth. What's going on with the Saints? What was this draft about?
Yeah, that's the question. It almost seems like they maybe had a plan, but then players were gone, because I don't understand how it all fits together. That's the thing. Like, Peyton Turner was probably, he could be considered a little bit of a reach. I'm not a huge Ian Book fan. I don't know, so that's a fourth round pick.
Love
what is it, Matt?
I love Book. I've been reading about him. I think he's a starting caliber quarterback that has not gotten much rave. And I love Notre Dame this year. I like college. He brought them, he made them very, very competitive. He's a very, very good quarterback.
Yeah, but overall, I agree with you with this draft.
Yeah, just I guess we'll agree to disagree on Book. But when you stack it all up together, I don't know if you see the Saints. They have to take a step back next year, and it doesn't look like they position themselves to reload all that great, like for 2022. So it's kind of a little bit of a mystery what went on here.
I agree. Okay, moving on to my New York Football Giants. I'm going to just say this. This was probably one of the better drafts we've had in a long time. We stole from the Bears. We got next year we have 2 firsts, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. Like, the wheeling and dealing that they did, and it's not Gettleman, because Gettleman never trades back. So it had to be Joe Judge in his ear. It had to be, right? It had to be. And I've seen people giving grades to the Giants draft. Usually the Giants always get a C. Every freaking year they get a C, right? This year I see websites giving them A+, A+. Because look, they trade back from 11 to get a first rounder next year, which I think, again, that's a robbery. I was thinking maybe we'll get like a second or a third, whatever. They get Kadarius Toney. I think this kid's gonna fit perfectly for what we need. Like, if you look at what the Giants can have as offensive weapons, with Slayton, him, Shep, bringing in Galladay, Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, and then Saquon in the backfield. Danny better produce, right? He better produce. Second round, the Giants took, and Ray, my opinion, the best edge rusher. I know you said the other guy was your guy, Jalen Phillips. I'm going to agree to disagree and say that Azeez Ojulari was the best edge rusher. The bend he has, like, that's what the Giants, I thought, were going to take in the first round. That's why I was so excited that they got him where they got him, right? Aaron Robinson was a little confusing to me at first, because Darnay Holmes, who they drafted last year, kind of does what Aaron Robinson does. But Aaron Robinson just happens to be a bigger back. He's more of a nickel back that will hammer you. Like, he hits hard, right? Then they take Ellerson Smith, edge out of Northern Iowa. Now, he sat out last year, but if you watched him the prior year, he was unbelievable in production, and it made me wonder why we haven't heard about him before. I'll be honest, like, why did I not know about him? When you watch the tape, it's like, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. So a year away just means he got older, more mature, and better shape. And then in the 6th round, we had 2 picks. We had nothing in the 5th. But I'll tell you the one that I liked in the 6th round, that's Gary Brightwell, the running back out of Arizona. I watched them, the Giants.com. They had an interview with all the draft picks. Gary gets on, and they said, "Welcome to the Giants, Gary. What do you hope to bring to this team this year?" And he immediately said, "Special teams." They're like, "Really?" He said, "I'm going to take it to the house. Like, that's my job. I'm coming in and it's special teams." And they're like, "Yeah, you did really well on special teams." He goes, "Well, how did you do last year?" He goes, "Well, last year I had to be the starter, so I couldn't do as much on special teams as I wanted to. But now I get to focus on special teams." This is a dude, when you get like a return guy that just loves to return, period, they're rare. They're guys that just let me return everything. Like, that's what they want to do as opposed to anything else. That's where he wants to make his name. So I'm going to tell you that what we picked up in picks from 1 to 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then to get the draft picks for next year, on top of the free agency, the work that we did, getting the best wide receiver and best cornerback and a tight end, that's money. I'm going to tell you that the New York Giants are finally turning the corner and look like a team that can make the playoff and win the division. Ray, I want your thoughts on the Giants draft.
Yeah, I think, again, we talked about Ojulari, what a steal that was. I mean, I thought as far as he's really an edge rusher in that. He's in the 250 area, so he'll be standing up a lot, I think, and that's the goal in that 3-4 hybrid that they run. So, again, I thought his close on the quarterback was one of the best that I've seen lately. Heavy hands. I thought it was a good pick. Tony, a lot of people were, thinking that was a reach, but we talked about this. Every team has different needs as far as the wide receiver position or the way they grade a player. So Tony, I mean, if you look at him, he's a 4-3 guy. He can catch the ball over the middle. He's got a passion for the game. He's a little immature, and I think that's why he dropped a little bit. He has some concentration issues, some drops. They'll work with him, but, I mean, you can't teach that speed. A lot like Deebo Samuel. He plays like him. He plays tough. So I think with the draft grade, yeah, you have to look at the picks that they acquired. Now, next year, they have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks. I mean, when you acquire draft capital like that, I mean, to me, that's a win. That's just as good as taking players. So, and I think the value to next year is this year, people really didn't know about a lot of players coming out. They didn't have a lot of grades because it was incomplete. A lot of players didn't play. So I think a lot of teams will look at it next year as a better year to get those picks in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. So I think it was a smart play by Gettleman.
Yeah, Ellerson Smith, I'm telling you, the edge rusher, he's going to be phenomenal. They picked up 2 guys with Ojulari and Smith that are going to rush the quarterback. Like, very excited about the way they drafted. Curious thing was no offensive lineman. Joe Judge believes he has enough in-house to do this because of the fact that they drafted Pert last year and that what's his name from the Patriots is coming back to play. So they have a lot more bodies than you think, right? I just think like getting even the picks next year, like the Giants finally drafted smart. Like it doesn't seem like this was a Gettleman draft. This seems like it was a Joe Judge draft, right?
It looked like they knew what they were doing. It looked like it looks like the franchise is kind of turning a corner.
Exactly.
Yeah, and King, the only two things that I'll always say my concerns with them. I'm not a big Danny Dimes backer, so I think this is his make or break season because they have all the weapons, and I'm not a Jason Garrett fan. So if Kadarius Toney, I don't want to say he's a gadget player. He's not a gadget player, but he has specific things he does well, and Garrett is not known for bringing the best out of players like that. So you're gonna have to keep an eye on that, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see Garrett. You see after this season he's gone as offensive coordinator.
Look, Joe Judge kind of made an agreement with him and Patrick Graham to at least stay 2 years during the whole pandemic thing to get continuity. Like he didn't want them taking a job right away. That was kind of part of the deal. Like hang with me for a couple of years so we can get this going and then move on. And look, if Joe Judge doesn't like the way a coach is doing a certain position, he just gets rid of him. So that could happen as well. But here's the other thing before we go on to the next team. There were too many people that were clocked at 4.3.
Yep.
Without a combine, everybody had somebody who ran in the 4.2s, 4.3s. Like, I don't know if anybody else caught that, but it was a little suspicious that everybody runs in the 4.2, 4.3s. Like, it was ridiculous. I thought I think the speed, the times were inflated.
I think the Giants draft looks really good because Tony doesn't hurt when you get Ozolari in the second. When you get somebody who fell 30 picks like that, I mean, I'm sure they were making a decision at that point. Do we take him or him at the first round?
Yep.
And then you get the guy that you probably loved at the first round, 40 in the second. That's incredible. They got 2 first round talents. So.
I agree. And another first round next year. Ray, I'm gonna throw this one to you, just because I want to hear it. The Jets, started off with picking a minor, which I didn't even know you could do. I thought you had to be 18 years of age, but I actually read it today, and it said that you don't. So they took the local paper boy, Zach Wilson. Love the way he throws the paper, especially the Sunday morning one, the one that's got all the extra flyers in it. And then they went on from there. Ray, give me a little breakdown of what you thought of their drafts with Zach Wilson to Elijah Vera. See, I think the Jets knocked it out of the park. I honestly, I think the Jets had an awesome draft, like a really, really good draft. Elijah Vera Tucker, starter. Elijah Moore, wide receiver, starter. Michael Carter, running back. He could be a third down back immediately, right?
I think so, yeah.
And then they took another Michael Carter in the 5th, but he's the 2nd, and he plays cornerback. Ray, what did you think of the team, the draft for the Jets?
Yeah, I mean, other than Zach Wilson, who I didn't think was the second best quarterback in the draft, ignoring that, I think they did a great job. I mean, I see 4 starters that are going to get in the game right off the bat. I mean, Zach Wilson's going to be their quarterback. Vera Tucker was the best guard in the draft. End of story. Elijah Moore, again, we had a lot of guys in this draft that were in the 5'9", 180-pound range that had really good production. Elijah Moore had some of the best production in the country. And another 4.3 guy. I know everyone runs a 4.3, but if you look at him on tape, it looks like it's 4.3. Michael Carter, I think, is a very underrated running back. Yeah, he's small. He's about 5'7", 5'8", 205, but he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. He can get you yards on first down. He averaged 6.9 yards a carry. Incredible player. I mean, I thought those 4 right off the bat were really good picks. I also liked, they got Eccles in the 6th round from Kentucky. Pair him up with the other 2 corners that they drafted, Pinnock and Carter, the 2nd. I mean, I thought they did a good job, and it's surprising because it's Joe Douglas, but I think they did a really solid job with their draft. I mean, you get your franchise quarterback, and then you follow up with the best guard on the board.
Agreed. All right, we have 7 teams left. We're going to speed through this. Maddie, I'm going to give you the Philadelphia Eagles just because you want to talk about them. They took Devonta Smith in the 1st round. 2nd round, Landon Dickerson, going to be a starter at center, right? Alabama. 3rd round, Milton Williams, defensive tackle, Louisiana Tech. He's a monster. He's another guy who should start. But from there, they got a little weird on me. They went with some teams that usually you don't take picks from. But what do you think of the draft of the Eagles?
Well, you commit to Jalen Hurts. I know you don't like Hurts. I'm in love with Hurts. I'm in love with Smith. So now I got 2 players that I think are highly electric playing together. I like that. If you're going to commit to Hurts, you better get him a weapon. I think, he's one of the top 3, if not top 2 wideouts in the draft. And then
his former center, Landon Dickerson from Alabama. You got his former center to play too.
What is it?
The center. Landon Dickerson. That was his center last year. So, that's familiarity. Like, you're reaching down to get the ball from the same guy you did from college.
I think Philly's going to be all right. I know that I don't personally – I don't know why the Giants – I mean, I do know why the Giants, they did get a first-round pick. But you're helping them, utilize that pick to their best. I love the Philly pick. I think Philly getting Smith right there, as much as you're going to get that first-round pick next year and you can do millions of things, you can flip it into a million more first-round picks. I love the Smith connection to Hurts. And like you said, familiarity, taking the handoff from the same guy. Now you don't even have to work on bridging the film between the 2.
Well, what's crazy about this was, and Ray, maybe you can speak to this. Dallas, another NFC East team, traded with the Eagles,
which is so in. I can't even do that.
Jump in front of the Giants so that the Eagles would take Devonta Smith.
Shows you how much they both think they're right, and that's awesome. Because now we're going to talk about this for the next 10 years.
Ray, what a great job, the Eagles.
What do you think of that, though, Ray? On the Cowboys, like why would you trade to another division team to get in front of another? I think they're more worried about the Giants right now than the dumpster fire that is the Philadelphia Eagles.
I hate you.
Right? That's why they make the trade.
No, they did a good job. I mean, they picked up a number 1 from the Dolphins before the draft, for that trade out of the 6th spot to drop down to 12. And they still get Devontae Smith, who I thought was the 1B to chase in this draft. Landon Dickerson, who, by the way, did play with Hurts at certain points when Hurts was at Alabama. So Hurts knows Landon Dickerson as well. And, guys, if he's not injured, he's a bona fide first-round pick. He's one of the best center prospects to come out in a long time. The issue with him is he's had serious knee injuries for like 3 years. So, but I mean, you can't get a better player once he's on the field. So I thought they did well. I love Gainwell in the 5th out of Memphis. You're starting to see a bunch of running backs out of Memphis now. Henderson, there's some players now coming out of Memphis at the running back position. He fits that mold. Catches the ball fast, can hit the home run. I thought they did a good job.
Yeah, I'm not sold. Kev, the Steelers, as we hit the final stretch.
Yeah, I'll go through it.
Harris. Yeah, I'm gonna go just name 3. Najee Harris in the 1st round went with a running back. 2nd round, they took a tight end and Pat Freiermuth. 3rd round, Kendrick Green, guard. He's going to be a starter. And then Dan Moore Jr., offensive tackle, and Buddy Johnson, linebacker, both from Texas A&M. Both, they must have been on the same pro day or the same whatever. But I think the Steelers very sneakily got 4, maybe 5 starters.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of I love Najee Harris as a talent. I don't think it was a good pick at 24. I think they could have gone elsewhere there. And the tight end, I can't pronounce that. Was it Freiermuth? He was kind of universally. He was basically second tight end behind Pitts. But they have Ebron already, so I'm a little curious about that one. I like Green. He's going to start. I like Moore. He's going to start. I like Buddy Johnson. The Steelers are always good with linebackers, but I mean, it's all going to come down to Roethlisberger. Plus, they lost a bunch of free agents. So, I think this draft. I think they're almost like treading water because of all the people they lost, and because Roethlisberger is like breaking down. So, if he has a good season, they might come off looking really good. But I see them kind of treading water next year.
Ray, steal the draft was 6th round, Quincy Roche.
Yes,
from Miami.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers, they retooled. They're like the Ravens. They have a certain type of player that they look for at each position. Yeah. And I'm looking at the players right now. They completely retooled. Najee Harris, one of the best receiving running backs in this draft, besides being a 230-pound bruiser and someone who could take it to the house. Freiermuth was the 2nd-rated tight end. And because of Pitts, a lot of people forgot about him. But in a normal year, when you don't have Pitts, he's easily the number 1 guy by a long shot. Green fits right in with what they look for in offensive linemen. Did the same thing with Moore. Buddy Johnson, they lose a Buddy Dupree, and here comes Buddy Johnson right into the fold. Loudermilk, again, another heavy-handed guy. And we talk about Roque. I mean, they do what they do. They have grades on these players, and then they just put them in, and they just pick up like nothing. They're like the Ravens. They're like the Vikings. They understand the draft process.
And a shout out to Presley Harvin III. Got picked in the 7th round. Punter. Georgia Tech. Gotta love it. Gotta love when punters get actually drafted. All right. Moving on to the next team. The San Francisco 49ers. Who's up on this one? I'm lost in the spin.
I'll
we'll go to Matt. Matt, 1st round, Trey Lance. 2nd round, guard, Aaron Banks, starter.
Well, after
3rd round, weird. Wait, 3rd round, weird. Trey Sermon, running back, Ohio State. And Ambry Thomas, cornerback, Michigan. Tell me
know,
about the.
it's crazy because the San Francisco 49ers, where we thought that they were kind of being kooky and not revealing, they were telling you the truth the whole time. They really like Trey Lance. And that does mean that Jimmy's going to stay there and do what he's going to do. Trey Sermon is somebody who's going to absolutely take that job day one. See you later, Moser. You're going. You wanted that big contract. This kid blows you out the water in terms of talent and strength and power up and in. He's a very, very serviceable running back. He's hidden behind the three, Williams and Etienne and Harris, but Sermon is he got injured in the championship game, and if he didn't, you would have been able to see what he does against great talents. He's
all right, but here's one thing I want to say about this draft. Sermon might not be the best running back they drafted.
You think so?
Eli Mitchell in the 6th round out of Louisiana Lafayette. Watch his tape.
I know Lafayette. I've seen them.
This might be another one of those sneaky picks because some certain running backs when they get to the NFL they just blossom and just doesn't make quite sense. But even like Maurice Jones-Drew, his favorite pick was Eli Mitchell. This kid is a home run threat waiting to happen. So
if you look at what they did, they went offensive guard, offensive tackle, 2 running backs. We know what the 49ers want to do. They're going to pound that ball control. And I really like that. I'm a big fan of Kyle Shanahan. I can't wait to see what happens. And like Genius Kev was saying, McVay, he's been wheeling and dealing all his picks for so long. It's a matter of time before that catches up to you. You have to go to the bank in order to get and the bank meaning the college draft in order to replenish yourself. And, they've been doing well with trading, but San Fran is going to be back on top. I think when we were talking mid-season last year, we were saying, what was the biggest disappointment? I said the San Francisco 49ers because they were a Super Bowl team the year before, and then all the injuries came. I think they're quickly going to put it back together. I think this was an outstanding draft. I like Trey Lance. I really do believe that I think we see Trey Lance mid-season. It's a longer season than ever. Trey Lance is going to come in. He's going to take that job from Jimmy quickly.
Ray, I'm going to give you 2 in a row just because the first one's Seattle, and I don't even know if they were there. They had a 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and a 6th-round pick. That's it. So with the 2nd-round pick, they took Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver, Western Michigan. 4th round was Trey Brown, cornerback, Oklahoma. And then 6th round was Stone Forsythe, offensive tackle, Florida. Ray, what do you make of that whole draft?
Yeah, I mean, they only had 3 picks. I really love Eskridge, though. He's one of my favorite receivers in this draft. He's another one of those 5'8", 5'9" guys, 180, 190, that runs a 4.3. But what I really love about him is he played corner while he was there. And we're talking a blue chip receiver. Because of the team's need, he decided to play cornerback for that team. And then finally, his last year, he switched back to wide receiver. But that shows you that this kid is willing to do anything to help his team win, even if it hurts his draft stock. One of the most exciting players in the country, one of the most versatile. I think he's going to fit in with that receiving core right off the bat. I mean, they're going to have a really formidable receiving core. Trey Brown, I thought he was decent. I mean, he fits the mold of a Pete Carroll cornerback, physical. Forsythe, again, haven't seen a lot of tape on him, but big guy. Seattle likes maulers. They only had 3 picks, but I think if you look at what Eskridge adds, I really like that dynamic. He was one of my favorite receivers in the draft.
All right, quickly moving right to Tampa Bay. What do you get for somebody who has everything? You know what I mean? Round 1, Joe Tryon, edge rusher, Washington. I love him. 2nd round, Kyle Trask, quarterback, Florida, right? That's what all the talk was about, Brady's replacement, right? And then they got Robert Hainsey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame, and then Jalen Darden, wide receiver out of North Texas. Overall, Ray, what did you think of Tampa Bay quickly?
The rich get richer, I mean, Joe Tryon was one of the best edge rushers out there, really underrated, was starting to shoot up draft boards, unbelievable speed, physical specimen. Kyle Trask, again, there were some teams that were thinking he might actually make it in the first round. Now you get someone who's 6'5" with all that ability. If Tom Brady decides to talk to him, I think he'll develop. I mean, the jury's out on that, but he's a great development quarterback to learn under Brady. I thought it was a smart move. Hainsey, again, another great Notre Dame offensive tackle. And I really love Darden. I think Darden fits the mold of what Brady likes in a receiver. Very smart, very intelligent, X's and O's guys. And the two linebackers they took, I mean, Britt and Stewart, both are athletic specimens. And you're talking about coming to a team with probably the best linebackers in the league. So the rich get richer.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Kev, to you, Tennessee. Now, look, Tennessee had a bunch of picks. I just don't think they did it well. I don't. I don't think they had a good draft. I think they had maybe some big names that people might think are big names. But I think overall, if you look at it, they took a lot of reaches, a lot of what ifs. Caleb Farley, first round. Dylan Radins, offensive tackle, second round. Monty Rice, linebacker from Georgia, third round. Third round, Elijah Molden, cornerback, Washington. And then in the fourth round, they had two players, Dez Fitzpatrick, wide receiver, Louisville, and Rashad Weaver, defensive end, Pittsburgh.
So I was probably one of the first people that was like very, very suspect on Farley because of all the injury concerns. So that's what it's all going to come down to. If he's healthy, they're going to look like they were brilliant. If he's not healthy, it's going to be another wasted first round pick. I like the tackle for Radons. I think he'll come in and he'll probably start. I'm not a big fan of Monty Rice. So the draft is kind of up and down. I think Monty Rice got benched at Georgia and they picked him in the third round. I think they can fix him. That's always a risky proposition. Molden actually like as a slot corner. Like, they have to do some rebuilding in their defensive backfield. So I think he's going to be good there. And I really like Rashad Weaver from Pittsburgh. I think they got a really good value there, fourth round. So I think he's going to come in and be a little bit better than most people think. So I actually think they had a decent draft. The big thing with them is going to be what do they do on offense? They lost Davis and they replaced and they drafted Dez Fitzpatrick, who I don't know a ton about, and Racey McMath, but neither one of those is going to replace Corey Davis. And they lost Arthur Smith as a coordinator. So it's going to be interesting.
They lost their tight end too, right?
Yeah. Jonathan Smith went to New England, so
they didn't replace
they had a good tight end to back him up. That was probably better than Smith.
Yeah.
What's his name? Schwartz. He's a very, very good, durable tight end to Tennessee. They got a badass guy behind Juno Smith there.
Yeah, hopefully you're right, because they didn't replace, I don't think, enough on offense, and they lost Arthur Smith. But I don't think the draft was bad. I think they got a lot of players that can come in and contribute.
Don't sleep on Dez Fitzpatrick, guys. Do not sleep on him. Check out his tape. Extremely exciting wide receiver. I thought they actually did decent. Getting Weaver in the fourth round, like you said, Genius, I thought was an absolute steal. And I like Monty Rice. I think he's got potential. Players that come out of that system, like Ojulari, they know how to play the pro game. You see a lot of their linebackers convert to the pros, Georgia. I think he was a really good pick. And I love Farley. Farley, I think, was easily the most physical corner in the entire draft.
Yeah, skills wise, you can't argue against it. It's like we keep saying with the injury thing. If he's healthy, he's gonna be amazing. All
right, last team going to Matt, guys. The Washington football team. All right, I didn't like their draft. How about that? Not just because I don't like the team itself, but I really don't like the draft. They took Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky, first round, which they could have took a much better linebacker in that position at that pick, right? Round 2, they took Sam Cosmi, offensive tackle, Texas. And then third round, they took Benjamin St. Juste, cornerback, Minnesota, and De'Ami Brown, wide receiver, North Carolina. I'm not excited by anybody there. Matt, what did you think?
Well, I mean, they didn't really have. I personally don't believe Washington has too many spots to fill. They're not like one of the Houston Texans or the Jets. They're right there. So, going for an offensive tackle and why they definitely needed somebody on the side of Scary Terry. They didn't have to make any splashy picks. I think they're pretty much right there where they need to be. I think that they also are another team where you got to look at what they did in the offseason. They feel like they made a upgrade with Fitzpatrick at the quarterback position. Would we have
Yeah.
done something else? Of course.
I don't think you can say one that they didn't make a big splash or that they treated it like this. You should treat every draft like you're trying to get the best star in the draft.
Where would they really necessarily need to fill, King? They need to fill their quarterback position, and they also need another wideout. That's what.
And a lineman, offensive line.
I don't think that they need defense. I think their defensive line is.
No, offensive line. I didn't say
That's what they did. I mean, they went with O tackle. I like.
Ray,
I
what do
like
you think?
I love their draft guys. I really do. I think they're another team that drafted to their personality. You look at, Jamin Davis, unbelievable speed, unbelievable specimen, plays the game inside out. I love Cosme. I think he's a brawler. He fits the profile of that team. I think they got value with St. Juste. And Dyami Brown is a lot like McLaurin. He has that same physical set, unbelievable speed, productive player. I think he could be the next McLaurin. Again, I thought they really hit on those players. Bates from Boise State, a lot like Jonnu Smith. He has that ability, not a big guy, but he's someone I think that could play in the league as an H-back and that move tight end. Again, I thought they did a good job. A lot of teams like Jamin Davis.
that Dyami Brown too. You know, North Carolina likes to run the ball, but whenever they were passing, it was to him. Every play, he was making plays that, you know, on an offense that's basically run oriented. So he was the star of that North Carolina passing game. He is. He shouldn't have been on the board that late, and they finally got a number 2 receiver opposite Scary Terry. Now that's scary because Scary Terry is one of the best wide receivers in the game, and he's been cluttered with so many defenders around him. Let's see it with a little bit of space now. Last year was a kind of down year with Scary. I think he's going to come right back, and that kid is going to open him up.
All right, we made it to the finish line. You guys, before we, I'm going to pass it around to everybody for your final word. I want to wish Felicia Lepre a very happy birthday today. From Brother Ray and myself, we say happy birthday. We love you. I won't say how old, 79. I will not say her age.
She'd kill you.
Happy birthday, Flea. I'm going to be, minute I leave here, I'm going to see her and wish her a happy birthday. Matt, you got anything you want to add before we cut out? I
forgot. I thought you were wishing your wife at your mama. That's right. Happy birthday, Mom. No, you know, I'm coming down from the draft high. Starting to be feeling a little bit better about it. Really didn't like it as a Patriots fan watching what we did, so I feel a little bit better. I think Mac Jones tells me, because I was so adamant that they weren't going to get a rookie quarterback. I think being with Mac Jones now, that means Bill's going to make a run for another 4 or 5 years. So
and try, yeah. Ray?
Hey, happy birthday, Mom. Love you, and be also going over there. Wish you happy birthday today. I think you saw a lot of the teams that we talked about continue to do what they do. The Steelers, the Ravens, the Bills. I like what Detroit and Washington did, 2 teams that I think are on the rise. It was an interesting draft because of COVID. And now you got street free agents being signed. Always see the next James Robinson in these last couple of days that get signed and end up being superstars. So still more to do.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on that. There's always that scramble at the end of the draft where the free agents sign. You know what I mean? Rookie free agents, because there's always like 1 or 2 good ones. Kev, what do you want to add?
Oh, first, wish your mom a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mrs. Lepre. So I think we're still all a little bit on the draft high because every team we've talked about having a pretty good draft or a great draft and all these players, all these bargains they got. That can't be true. Some of these teams had to have messed it up, and I think we're still a little bit too positive, too high, and I think the dust will settle over the next coming weeks and definitely the next coming months. And I do. The last thing I say, there's teams out there that we just can't figure out the plan. Like Seattle, how the heck do they only have 3 picks? Like, what do they get for all those picks they traded away? Like they consistently think they're 1 player away from a Super Bowl. Some of these teams like them need to level set and realize you're not as good as you think you are, and so you still have some of that out there, but I think we're still too high on this draft.
Now, Real quick, with a draft out like we had this year with COVID, would you have liked to see them going back to the old, concept of 8 to 12 rounds, extra rounds?
No.
Why not?
We had enough of it, the draft. Like, that was plenty. They milked that thing out long enough. 7 rounds over 3 days, 4 days is ridiculous.
It almost seems like you should have an avenue to pick these players because you get great players in undrafted. That's the only thing I'm saying, especially in a COVID world. That's what
I couldn't take any more drafts. What I want to say is later tonight we have a show at 7:00. Legit Paranormal. We will be welcoming Don DeCristofaro. Don is a paranormal investigator. He's also the co-founder of the Greater Boston Paranormal Associates. He's been to a lot of scary places, Salem's type stuff. So it's going to be fun to pick his brain and hear some truly terrifying, probably stories when it gets dark. So I'm looking forward to that myself. We may have a big announcement coming up about the paranormal world. We should probably know by next week. I'll let you know about that. Other than that, for Mashadamas, for the Genius Kev, for Brother Ray, it's me, Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This was Legit Fantasy Football from legitfantasysports.com. Please like our videos. Please subscribe to our videos. Please visit the website. And then finally, please take your time out of the day to wish Flea Lepre a happy birthday. Thank you all, and we will see you on Thursday. Also see you tonight for Paranormal at 7.